Tonight, Mahmoud Khalil, a free man. A federal judge orders the U.S. government to release Colombia protester Mahmoud Khalil, saying he is not a danger to the community, period. And tonight, the graduate student walking out of that Louisiana detention center where he's been held since March for his alleged support of Hamas, which he denies through his legal team. We've got all of the details of today's events. Summer solstice today, and much of the country feeling the heat. Highs from Arizona to the northeast hitting above 100. Add to that severe storms, possible tornadoes, flash flooding, and damaging winds. We'll show you where the wild weather is headed this weekend. Political violence here at home. A suspect charged with the attempted kidnapping of the Memphis mayor. Police say they recovered a taser, gloves, rope, and duct tape. This as an Ohio lawmaker says a driver tried to run him off the road. Days after Karen Reed is found not guilty, one of the jurors who decided her fate is speaking out. We talked to juror number 11, an attorney herself, who tells us what it was like during deliberations and what it was that changed her mind. Reports today of massive data breaches impacting millions of consumers. What safeguards are in place to protect you? How do you know if your information has been compromised? And how can you protect yourself against cyber hacking? And Beyoncé reunited on stage with Miley Cyrus, and the crowds go wild. We'll take you to Paris to show you the performance that got everyone talking.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is Prime with Linsey Davis.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Juju Chang in for Linsey Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We begin with that significant moment. Former Columbia student and green card holder Mahmoud Khalil has been released. Cameras were there just moments after he left the detention facility where he'd been held for more than 100 days. He had this to say.
Justice prevailed, but it's long, very long overdue, and this shouldn't have taken 3 months. The hundreds of men who I left behind me shouldn't be there in the first place. The Trump administration are doing their best to dehumanize everyone here. Whether you are a U.S. citizen, an immigrant, or just a person on this land, doesn't mean that you are less of a human.
Khalil was detained on March 8th at his apartment building in Manhattan over his participation in the pro-Palestinian demonstrations. During that time, his wife gave birth to their first son. The Trump administration has argued non-citizens who participate in demonstrations like the ones on Columbia University's campus should be expelled from the country, as it considers their views anti-Semitic. His lawyers say the Trump administration is simply trying to crack down on free speech. The judge noted Khalil has no criminal record, and the government has put forward no evidence to suggest he's been involved in violence or property destruction. Aaron Katursky leads us off tonight.
Okay, let's not.
It was the arrest at Columbia University in front of his pregnant wife that made national headlines.
He's not resisting.
And tonight, after more than 3 months in federal custody, Columbia graduate and green card holder Mahmoud Khalil walking out of an immigration jail in Louisiana.
My priority now is to get to my beautiful wife and precious son. Although justice prevailed, but it's long, very long overdue, and this shouldn't have taken 3 months.
A federal judge granting Khalil's release on bail, ruling the Trump administration was punishing him over his pro-Palestinian speech. Of course, the judge said that would be unconstitutional. The judge also rejecting the government's argument that Khalil represented a flight risk. The administration accused Khalil of fomenting anti-Semitism during demonstrations on the Columbia campus last year, which his lawyers denied. Tonight, Noor Abdullah, who gave birth to a son, Dean, in April, saying we can finally breathe a sigh of relief and know that Mahmoud is on his way home. Mahmoud Khalil walking out of that ICE detention center in Louisiana after 105 days in detention, a moment his family is certainly celebrating. But his ordeal is far from over. The Department of Homeland Security is taking aim at the federal judge in Newark, New Jersey, who ordered his release, saying it should be up to the immigration judge to keep him in custody. But Khalil now can still try to fight his removal from the United States, which the Trump administration said they will continue to pursue. Only now Khalil can be home with his wife and newborn son after all that time away in detention. Juju?
For more than 100 million Americans, they're bracing for dangerous heat on this first day of summer. Heat alerts stretch from Arizona to Massachusetts, with temperatures reaching into the 90s and 100s through Tuesday. The real feel in New York is forecasted to be a 106 by Monday. More than 20 million people are already under extreme heat warnings in the heartland. Chicago's mayor is urging residents to take care and check in on their neighbors. And severe weather is moving from the Midwest to New York State after more than 400 storms in 29 states. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Lee Goldberg of our New York City station, WABC. Lee, time this extreme heat out for us.
Okay, Juju, you know, this isn't your run-of-the-mill early summer season heat wave where you're hitting 90 for a few days in a row. This is really extreme heat and high impact given the fact that we've been cool in the Northeast until now, so a real shock to the system. So right now our heat alerts, I mean, there's some in Arizona, but Gulf Coast all the way to the Great Lakes and then eastward into the Northeast, and that includes Philly, New York, and Boston. And you see how it peaks in the Midwest tomorrow. We could have record highs in Minneapolis, St. Louis, and by Sunday, you're talking about 97 degrees in Chicago. That's actual temperatures. Now talk about those feel-like readings when you couple the heat and humidity. Feels like 108 off the charts in D.C. by Monday, 107 in New York City. Haven't hit 100 degrees on the thermometer in New York since 2012. We have a shot at that. And in Boston, it'll feel like it's over 100 into Tuesday, just broiling. Meanwhile, tonight, there is some severe weather in the northern plains in the Midwest, Bismarck to Duluth, possibly some damaging winds. That will also go into parts of central and western New York. Juju, storms may not arrive in the Northeast to knock down this heat wave till Wednesday and Thursday of next week. Back to you.
Okay, Lee Goldberg, thank you. And tonight we're hearing from a juror on the Karen Read trial, which gained national attention. You'll remember earlier this week she was found not guilty of killing her police officer boyfriend.
And test. Defendant not guilty or guilty? Not guilty. So say you, Mr. Foreman? So say you all?
You can hear those cheers which erupted outside as Read left. Supporters had stood outside the courtroom every day of the trial. Joining us now is juror number 11, Paula Prado. Paula, how did your opinion of Karen Read change throughout the trial?
At first, I thought her demeanor in court was a little bit too calm and composed for someone who was being charged for murder, especially for a loved one. But I learned how to admire actually that behavior. She was very participative on her own defense and helping each other and calm. I think her confidence was because she knew she wasn't guilty. And that helps me to change this prejudgment I have of her.
So you changed from thinking she was guilty to thinking not guilty?
Not just because of her behavior, of course, because of the whole trial itself and the evidence presented to us had too many holes, and we couldn't connect taillights to John O'Keefe injuries. We felt that was something else that could have pushed him to hit his head so hard that he had a skull fracture. And we definitely believe that if he was hit by a car at 24 miles per hour, we would find more injuries on his body.
Now, Paula, I know you work as an attorney in Brazil as well, and you've presented cases. Which side really solidified your position, the defense or the prosecution?
I pay more attention in the prosecution witnesses and the case they presented because I needed to see what they have to prove me that she was guilty. And of course, when the defense started bringing their witnesses, I already kind of had my mindset that Karen Read wasn't guilty. So the defense witnesses just came in to top it off and make me more sure and certain that she wasn't responsible for John's death.
And what were the pieces of evidence presented from either side, really, that pushed you to find her not guilty or at least raise enough reasonable doubt?
Definitely the tail light. We had the opportunity to check the tail light from inside the deliberation room. So we had the broken tail light, the original one. We also had a new one to compare, and we had videos of Karen Read getting out of the house in that morning at 5:07, 5 a.m. And we saw her car lighting, the red was way too strong and way more spread out, as if her tail light wasn't broke that much. The pieces that were missing were too much for us to be able to see the red light.
Take us inside the jury room. Was there a lot of back and forth with the verdict with other jurors, or was it everyone on the same page?
No, we definitely, at first we started deliberating on Friday, so everything was new. Everybody wanted to just talk one over another. But on Monday, we start being more organized, and there were different opinions. But we are very respectful. We listen to everybody. I think everybody left the deliberation room confident and certain of our decision. We listened to everyone. We answered all the questions we had. We compare our notes to see if we got anything wrong or right, who has this information, who haven't. And I think we did a great job. We were respectful. We tried very hard to listen to everyone.
Now, the defense's allegations of a cover-up, I wonder if you think the jurors felt that could be true, or if that held a lot of water for you.
It could be true. It could also not be true. The same way I can't charge Karen Reed with murder, I can't say there was a cover-up because I didn't see evidence for it. I saw holes and I saw a flop investigation, and I think the prosecution they worked what they had. The investigation was poorly from the beginning. No reports, no time, no videos that were missing. They could be covering for someone, of course, but also could be something else.
And what was your reaction when the verdict was read and you saw the reactions inside and outside the courtroom?
My reaction was cry. I was the juror who left court crying because I felt sad for John O'Keefe's family as they were leaving before everybody else, and of course frustrated and upset. I'm happy for Karen Reed and her family so they can move on, but definitely John O'Keefe's family didn't get the justice they deserve.
A lot of emotions inside and outside the courtroom. Paula Prado, thank you so much for your time. Police in Tennessee have arrested a man they say tried to kidnap the mayor of Memphis. The suspect had a taser, gloves, rope, and duct tape in his car when he was arrested. The case is one of several recent threats aimed at politicians, and tonight authorities are warning of a surge of targeted attacks. Here's our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas.
Tonight, prosecutors in Tennessee charging this 25-year-old man with trying to kidnap the mayor of Memphis, Paul Young. The latest in what authorities say is a surge in targeted attacks on politicians.
You may not contact Paul Young, the alleged victim in this case. You may not contact him directly, indirectly, or be anywhere he's likely to be.
Police claim that Trenton Abston climbed over the 8 to 10-foot wall in Mayor Young's neighborhood Sunday night and went directly to the mayor's home, knocking on the door. The mayor not answering after he looked at the Ring doorbell video and observed an unknown male. Prosecutors claimed that Abston had a taser in his pocket and planned to confront Paul Young about crime in the city. And authorities say they later found that taser, rope, and duct tape in the suspect's vehicle. Mayor Young posting, "In today's climate, especially after the tragic events in Minnesota and the threats my wife and I often received online, none of us can be too careful." And U.S. Congressman Max Miller from Ohio says he too was targeted this week while driving on a highway.
Some unhinged, deranged man decided to lay on his horn and run me off the road when he couldn't get my attention to show me a Palestinian flag. Not to mention death to Israel, death to me, that he wanted to kill me and my family.
Tonight, police arresting 36-year-old Ferris Hamden for allegedly threatening Miller and his family, saying he made anti-Semitic slurs against Miller, who is Jewish. These incidents on the heels of those horrific shootings in Minnesota that left former State House Speaker Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark dead. Authorities say the alleged killer disguising himself as police, wearing a hyper-realistic latex mask. Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette ambushed at their front door. Trying to protect his family, they say the senator lunged at the gunman. Each of them shot at least 8 times. Their daughter, Hope, then rushed to shut the door and called 911. The Hoffman saying, quote, "Without Hope, we wouldn't be here right now." Juju, the Hoffman family grateful that hope saved their lives. And in response to this toxic and increasingly dangerous political environment, congressional leaders holding urgent meetings this week to discuss ways to improve their security.
Our thanks to Pierre Thomas for that report. Israel and Iran traded a new round of blows today as diplomats held talks in Geneva, hoping the U.S. and Iran will negotiate. And tonight, more U.S. military forces are on the way to the region. ABC's chief foreign correspondent Ian Pannell is in Israel tonight.
Tonight, Israel and Iran exchanging fierce new blows. Videos circulating online showing an Iranian missile slamming into Israel's port city of Haifa. First responders rushing to the scene, more than 30 people injured. And in the southern city of Beersheba, a missile blowing out a building lobby, causing destruction, a nearby daycare taking heavy damage. And Israel pounding Iran, hitting missile sites. A military official telling ABC News they've taken out about half of Iran's missile launchers. And Israel still bombing Iran's nuclear facilities. New satellite imagery showing a reactor in Iraq destroyed. At least 230 killed across Iran, according to the government, with little prospect of an early end to the strikes.
Our thanks to Ian Pannell for that report. And now to Washington, D.C. and the White House, where President Trump said he will make a decision on Iran within the next 2 weeks. Tonight, the president is publicly disagreeing with his director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard's statement about Iran's nuclear capabilities. And late today, Gabbard is responding as well. ABC's Rachel Scott has more from the White House.
Tonight, as President Trump decides whether the U.S. will take direct action on Iran, the president clearly showing today he does not agree with his director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, who said in recent weeks the intelligence community has no evidence Iran is building a nuclear weapon at this point.
What intelligence do you have that Iran is building a nuclear weapon? Your intelligence community has said they have no evidence that they are at this point.
Well, then my intelligence community is wrong. Who in the intelligence community said that?
Your director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard.
She's wrong.
In the days leading up to Israel's first strikes on Iran, the president's director of national intelligence, in a very rare move, posted a video of her own, appearing to warn against any escalation.
As we stand here today, closer to the brink of nuclear annihilation than ever before, political elite and warmongers are carelessly fomenting fear and tensions between nuclear powers. And perhaps it's because they are confident that they will have access to nuclear shelters for themselves and for their families that regular people won't have access to. So it's up to us, the people, to speak up and demand an end to this madness. We must reject this path to nuclear war.
Sources tell ABC News the president scolded Gabbard and wished she used better judgment. We're told she has still participated in intelligence briefings in the Oval Office and is part of the president's national security team in the Situation Room. A source familiar saying in the room, Gabbard argued that Tehran is not close to building a bomb, reaffirming her Capitol Hill testimony just months ago.
IC continues to assess that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon.
The president in recent days clearly frustrated that his director of national intelligence has not appeared to be in lockstep with him.
I don't care what she said. I think they were very close to having.
Tonight, President Trump doubling down his 2-week deadline for Iran before he decides on U.S. military action. Meanwhile, European leaders meeting today with Iran's foreign minister in Geneva, trying to come up with some sort of diplomatic solution. Our Tom Soufi Burge is there.
The talks here wrapping up. No major breakthroughs, but the Europeans pressing Iran to return to negotiations with the U.S.
The president tonight appearing to brush off the efforts by European leaders.
Iran doesn't want to speak to Europe. They want to speak to us. Europe is not going to be able to help in this one.
And the president saying if the U.S. does take direct action, it will not include U.S. boots on the ground.
Well, I'm not going to talk about ground forces. The last thing you want to do is ground forces.
And Rachel Scott joins us now. And Rachel, both the White House and the National Security Director Gabbard are both addressing that apparent disagreement late today. What are they saying?
Well, the White House giving us a statement, Juju, telling us that the president has full confidence in his national security team, calling Gabbard an important part of that. And then Tulsi Gabbard herself, Juju, responding tonight to a lot of these reports, suggesting there is no daylight between her and the president.
Fences being mended. Thank you, Rachel Scott. More than 600 Voice of America employees were issued layoff notices today, a move made by senior White House advisor Carrie Lake. The federally funded news organization has provided reporting to countries with limited press freedoms since World War II. Lake said the reduction in force was long overdue and just a part of the 1,400 positions that have been eliminated in total, prompted by an executive order signed by President Trump in March. Coming up, the concerning reports about a massive data breach, how you can tell if your information has been stolen, and what you can do to protect your information. And later, the two most wanted will show you the big surprise at Beyoncé's concert in Paris. By now, you've probably seen the headlines. 16 billion passwords reportedly exposed in a massive data breach. The number, reported by a team at Cyber News, is mind-boggling. ABC News can't confirm their findings, but here's what they're claiming by the numbers. The Cyber News report includes 30 different data breaches they say they discovered since the beginning of this year. But 16 billion data breaches would be 2 for every person on the planet. And Cyber News says many cases may have been counted more than once. They don't know exactly how many people have been affected. Separately, this past May, Wired reported 184 million records, including user logins and popular American platforms, had been exposed. And today, Aflac announced it is the third insurance company hacked this week, potentially exposing customers' Social Security and other personal information. And to help us understand what we can do to protect our information, we're joined by CNET Consumer Insights editor Daisha Milden. Thanks for talking with us, Daisha.
Thank you for having me. Hi.
Hi. So, okay, if my information has been compromised, how will I know?
Well, if you've signed up for an identity theft protection service, which we 100% recommend, you'll definitely receive those sorts of alerts. So, for example, if your information has been compromised, if your credit card information is out there, email addresses, password, it depends, of course, on the identity theft protection service that you use. But usually you'll receive those alerts. So, highly encourage everyone to at least get one of those services, just in terms of credit monitoring, password monitoring, and just keeping a close eye on all of your identity information there.
And it's so scary how much information hackers already collect on us without us being hacked. How do we protect ourselves?
Really, it boils down to a really strong password. And when we start thinking about a strong password, it usually is not one that includes all of your everyday information, such as your birthday, anniversary, the list goes on. What you're going to want to look for instead are those random passwords, randomly generated. You can use a password generator for that. And usually what we find from there is, when you create a really strong password, it doesn't mean that it cannot be compromised or hacked. However, it's not giving the hacker any specific clues that may be on your Facebook profile or maybe really easy to find after doing a quick Google search about you. So we did find, based off of CNET's most recent survey, that 1 in 4 U.S. adults do use a password generator. But on the other hand, close to 1 in 4 adults still use the same password for multiple accounts, which can be very dangerous. So highly recommend a password generator, and that can usually be found when getting a password manager.
Oh boy, I guess the dog's name doesn't work anymore. Now, aren't there ways companies are supposed to be protecting us from these hacks? And if so, why don't those protections work?
So there is some really good news here that we got to think about, is that Microsoft currently has a deadline in place where Microsoft Authenticator will use passkeys instead of passwords. And just a really quick, brief understanding here of what a passkey is. A passkey usually uses either a fingerprint or PIN or facial recognition, which is usually a lot safer than a password because that information isn't necessarily being stored online. It's only being stored on the device. So when we really start thinking about logging into your computer and maybe using a fingerprint, that's a really smart example here. One thing that we got to keep in mind is that not every company is currently doing this. So you're going to want to make sure that you set up 2-factor authentication, look into other security measures that that provider may offer. But passkeys is definitely a more safe and reliable route. It doesn't mean that your information won't get hacked, but it is safer than a password. So it is good to see that Microsoft is heading in that direction.
That's amazing. Passkeys are definitely helpful. CNET editor Daisha Milden, thanks so much for joining us and laying it all out for us. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Coming up in tonight's Prime Focus, Meet the teenagers spending their after-school hours raising prize cattle. We'll give you an inside look at the big competition as they hit the ring. And later, after years stuck with a plastic ring around its neck, relief at last for this bear. We'll show you how it happened. Welcome back. Tonight, we want to show you a slice of America you may not have seen before. We take you inside a big competition where for months, teenagers have raised cattle on their ranches. It all comes to a head at this stock show in the show ring for these aspiring future cattle ranchers as they show off their 1,000-pound animal. Here's a preview of our ABC News Live special, Wild Ride, Inside Stock and Rodeo.
My name is Bryce McKim. I am from Castle Rock, Colorado, and I'm 16 years old. There's where all my feed is. I'll go ahead and weigh it out on the scale. 26. Hi. This is root beer. It's super cute. I got lucky. He's just such a good boy. And it's like a dog. There you go. Root beer is a true show cow. When you're in the show ring, the judge looks for how much time you've really spent with these animals. And it's super important, and I just feel like I've spent a lot of time with mine. That's like a perfect setup right there. Hopefully I make top 2 and I make their auction and I get to sell him off to an owner so that I will make money back. He probably is thirsty because that water's been frozen. If I don't win, I don't think I'll be sad. I'll just know in my head that I gave him the best life possible.
National Western Stock Show is an iconic Denver institution. The Catch-A-Calf program is basically an educational opportunity to help people understand that it's a very complex web that brings food to our table, but also that livestock producers and farmers and ranchers are the stewards of the land. Today, the kids are settling their animals in. They've come from Kansas, Nebraska, Wyoming, and Colorado. They're trying to get them ready for the show, which is tomorrow.
He looks good. He's so square. I got so lucky, dude.
My name is Blake Herrera. I'm 18. I'm a 5th-generation rancher. I've grown up around this my whole life. His name's Mike Honcho. He weighs 1156. The program wanted us to shoot for 1,300 pounds. We think he'll do good, even though he's light.
Each kid has a sponsor. Bryson was somebody that I ended up sponsoring because I live somewhat close to him. He has grown so much, he's confident, he understands animals.
I'm more nervous about the show itself, but we'll see how it goes from here. I got here at 5:45, even before the doors open.
We're just doing spot cleaning right now because we only have like 3.5 hours to get all this stuff done before the show.
I'm stressed. I'm kind of ready to just get it over with, to be honest with you.
Tomorrow, he'll be at the slaughterhouse and he'll be made into meat. So I always think that this is the most important part of the process, is blowing them and showing. It's all about perspective. So if you comb this way and then blow it out, it'll make their butt look like it's wider because the grains of the hair are going that way. If I could have any job in the world that would pay as much money as I wanted, I would be doing this.
The one thing I'm kind of nervous about is he's super noisy when he gets in there. Moo, moo, moo.
Easy, buddy.
First show ever.
This is the fun part. This is where you worked hard for.
I know. I don't know what I'm doing, though.
Up first in the program is showmanship. The purpose of showmanship is to present the animal in a manner that these two judges will have a favorable impression on them.
So just follow everybody?
From Castle Rock, Colorado, Bryson McKim.
Good, how are you?
Good. Tell me about what future impact you think this project will have on you.
I hope that I can mentor others, and I learned so much through this program, and just like even with relationships with other people.
Bryson has never shown cattle before this year, and he is now going to be 1, 2, or 3 in the showmanship, which is awesome.
Next up in our schedule for today for the Catch a Calf program will be the live placing phase of today's competition.
We're rooting for you.
All right, here we go.
Our judges will be evaluating the steers for muscling, finish, and their structural soundness. These traits are important to the beef cattle industry today.
I want to be proud of this.
Thank you so much.
This steer next moves out on the ground, covers his stride. He just is athletic, and for me, he's done.
Second place from Castle Rock, Bryson McKim.
He'll be dead in 2 weeks. Could you eat him? You could eat him?
Yeah, I never something that tastes good.
I can. He's been too nice to me.
I know, buddy. I know you're tired.
Number 3, Blake Herrera of Lamar, Colorado.
One more step. Come on. Easy. Going forward after this project, how will you apply it in your future endeavors?
I want to start a show company for cattle.
He's got a nice amount of finish on him.
Thank you.
The steer we start off with is one that we think is the most market ready. He has that finished look, and he has that maturity. He's deep down in his flank. And from a cattleman's perspective, we like his balance.
And your Class 1 winner is Blake Herrera.
The breakfast is where we give out all the awards to all the kids, and there's a variety of awards for all the different components of the program.
This year's Grand Champion Catch a Calf, Cooper Sanchez.
Yes, it's a sad day to see the calves go off, but that's what it's all about. It's raising wholesome food for our country, and these kids are now part of that process, something that they'll carry with them for the rest of their lives.
Our thanks to the team. You can stream the entire special, Wild Ride Inside Stock and Rodeo, at 8 o'clock Eastern and later on Hulu. Coming up, we sit down with the stars of Marvel's latest series, Ironheart. And 50 years ago today, the iconic summer beach flick, Jaws, was released. We go back to the town where it all started. Duet, of course, that you'll want to watch again and again. The new smart sunglasses designed for athletes and fans, and for one Michigan Bear, a long-awaited release. These stories and much more on tonight's Rundown. Two megastars joined forces in Paris for a special live performance. Beyoncé brought out Miley Cyrus at her concert last night at Stade de France, performing their Grammy-winning duet, Two Most Wanted, live for the first time. The concert was the fourth stop on Beyoncé's Cowboy Carter Stadium tour. Hawaii's Kilauea volcano began erupting again this morning, and it's a big one. The USGS says episode 26 is likely setting a new record for this eruption, with lava fountains shooting at least 1,000 feet into the air. The volcano, which is located on Hawaii's Big Island, is one of the most active in the world, especially in recent months, as there have been dozens of eruptions since December alone. Meta and Oakley are teaming up to launch new performance AI sunglasses. The first set of glasses, the Oakley Meta Houston, feature a high-resolution camera, open-ear speakers, and the Meta AI app built in. A limited edition version of the glasses will be available for pre-order July 11th for $499, with the rest of them available later this summer for $399. Researchers from Ghent University in Belgium say they've reconstructed the face of a prehistoric Belgian woman. They say the woman lived around 10,500 years ago, had blue eyes and slightly lighter skin than most other people from the area at that time, demonstrating that there was already considerable variation in skin color among different populations. The researchers used anatomical, genetic, and archaeological data for the reconstruction. A young bear is finally free from a plastic lid that was stuck around its neck for 2 years. The Michigan Department of Natural Resources says it first saw the bear in trail cameras in 2023. Officials finally caught the animal safely this month and were able to remove the plastic lid. The DNR said the bear had scarring and an abscess on its neck, but was otherwise healthy and eventually released. The NBA Finals is going the distance. The Indiana Pacers came away with a convincing 108-91 victory over the Oklahoma City Thunder in Game 6, forcing a 7th and final game between the teams. The Pacers are looking for their first title in franchise history, while the Thunder hope to clinch their first since moving to Oklahoma City. It will be just the 20th time an NBA Finals has reached a Game 7, and the first since 2016. The winner-take-all matchup will take place in Oklahoma City at 8 p.m. Eastern Sunday night. Guess where? On ABC. The MCU is getting bigger. Ironheart stars Dominique Thorne as Riri Williams, her character from Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, as well as Anthony Ramos. Our Ike Ejiachi got a chance to sit down with the actors for a look at the new TV series.
If I'm gonna protect people, I gotta start thinking outside the box.
I can give you the tools to help you carry out your vision. But anyone who's ever accomplished anything iconic in life has had to do some questionable things to get it done.
Now, we first saw you step into Riri's shoes, as you said, in Wakanda Forever. She's known as, like, an anti-hero in the MCU.
A little bit.
A little bit. Mm-hmm. Would you fully characterize her in that way?
You know, it might be too early to fully characterize Riri as any one thing, to be honest. I think at this particular point, we are catching up with her in the days post Wakanda Forever, post Talocan, and everything that she was exposed to, not only about the world at large, but also about her and her potential and the truth of that potential. And again, she's a 19-year-old girl in college trying to figure it all out. I think this is indeed the beginning of her journey, her hero or anti-hero journey. My stepdad used to say the best way to know a thing is to take it apart, put it back together, and you can see what it's really made of.
You should take your dad's advice. Break yourself down.
Now, then comes your adversary, Parker Robbins, the Hood, played by none other than Anthony Ramos, my man. So I gotta ask you, what makes their dynamic so compelling? This is for both of you.
I think they're similar in a lot of ways, you know, and I think that they find those similarities in each other, you know, when they meet and the more they get to know each other, but they're also very different. And as the show progresses, we get to see how those differences become more and more difficult to reconcile.
Okay, so what do you do?
Theft, extortion, breaking and entering.
Why?
Why do you make iron suits?
I'm sure you have a good reason why you do what you do. And I have reasons of my own.
Now let's talk about how you work with it. Now, the Hood's journey, it's described as involving addiction to power and the consequence that comes with it. Did exploring these items cause you to reflect on any parallels in your personal life?
Yikes.
I want to get into it.
Hold up.
I mean, we're talking about bringing yourself into there, so how much did yourself actually get into it?
I think with every character, or most, right? Not every character, but most, you're looking at it and you're like, man, like how does this, you want to find the ways that the character parallels to your life.
Right.
And that helps when bringing truth to the character. Yeah, for sure. I think that, I think we all have this sense of, I want more, or I want to get ahead, or I need more, this is not enough. And sometimes you can get misguided. I think the first question a lot of us are asked by people, right, are, so what's next? And I definitely have been in places in my life and times in my life where that definitely consumed me in a way that was negative for my day to day.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm there right now, but I will definitely say that I've been there for sure.
Right. Now, Dominique, in a world full of gods, mutants, sorcerers, Riri kind of builds her own path. Literally.
Yeah.
So what aspects of Riri do you admire the most?
Oh, man. I think it's her commitment to her vision and the ability to actualize it and have it be fully self-generated. So truly from ideation to a physical thing, she can see each step that needs to happen in order to make that be, and has difficulty sort of letting up until it is completed. And I think that can also be a detriment to her humanity. And I think we'll start to explore that a bit in the series as well. But I do kind of admire it, that commitment and that passion that she has to make a difference.
And this question's for both of you. Think about the superheroes that you both watched growing up, whether it be Superman, Batman, what have you, and the effect that had on your lives. So how do you think Ironheart will shift the narrative for the coming generations?
That's such a sentimental question.
Wow.
Oh, man. I hope at a base level, it gives some sense of pride and excitement for the young girls and boys out there that see themselves in this brilliance, And I hope that somewhere in there's a sense of encouragement to lean into who you are. Because I think at the end of the day, that's what Riri and Parker are both doing.
People think, when you're doing something that seems, wild or crazy to people, right? There are a lot of naysayers, a lot of people are going to tell you don't do that, or, they're both these really ambitious, dreaming people, like the ambitious dreamers that, again, for better or for worse, they're like that, like Dom said, right? Like, I think kids, especially, young people should, try to, in spite of where you're from and in spite of what your circumstances are, don't let your circumstances beat you down to the point where you can't dream anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right, the fantastic Anthony Ramos, the wonderful Dominique Thorne, thank you so much for speaking with me. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
And you can stream new episodes of Marvel's Ironheart on Disney Plus beginning June 24th. Well, it's known as the first blockbuster. 50 years ago today, Jaws not only changed the movie industry, ushering in a wave of big-budget summer features, it also sensationalized sharks for generations to come. ABC's Ginger Z has a first look at a new National Geographic documentary premiering next month that takes us behind the scenes of that unforgettable film.
Where are we going?
Swimming! With 2 notes. And 1 shark. Steven Spielberg's Jaws changed movies forever.
It was sort of life-changing. There have been movies made since using CG sharks that aren't nearly as good.
The film, released 50 years ago, becoming an instant blockbuster. But the making of the movie was over budget and 100 days behind schedule.
I was terrified I was going to be fired.
Nat Geo's new documentary, Jaws at 50, takes a deep dive into the production, plagued by issues with that mechanical shark.
There was nothing fun about making Jaws. It was a very, very hard thing to go out on the real ocean, be knocked around by the waves, by the currents.
One more time.
And then on top of all that, 80% of the time the shark didn't work.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
Shark! The shark!
Jaws was shot right here on Martha's Vineyard between May and October of 1974, and this is the Jaws Bridge, one of the most famous spots from the film. People still come to visit today. The cast and crew of Jaws was right here in picturesque Edgartown as they transformed it into the beachside resort town of Amity. Many of the actors in the movie, Islanders, lifelong residents of Martha's Vineyard, like Jeffrey Voorhees, whose character, Alex Kinter, was one of the shark's victims.
When you see me go up and down, that's two guys lifting me in and out of the water, then pull you on and give you air.
And Jonathan Searle, who appeared alongside his brother in this memorable moment.
He made me do it. He told me to do it.
So in the film, you are pulling a hoax, or your character is, but now you in real life are the chief of police.
Can you believe that? I'm still amazed at the following that the movie has produced, and that 50 years later people are still so interested. Who knew when I was sitting with a 26-year-old gentleman that would be Steven Spielberg?
Still so scary. That's our show for this hour. I'm Juju Chang. Stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks for streaming with us.